Hey, what's up, everyone? Ralph here. So I don't know about you, but in my 20s, I quit a few jobs, right? And I guess that's just something that you do when you're young, right? You're a little bit more reckless, and you have a low tolerance for like jobs that you just don't like. But I can remember when I was in college, and when you're in college, you're trying to figure things out, you're trying to figure out what you want to do. And even though I majored in business, I still was like, why am I here? Why am I in college? And no one could really give me an answer. And you're going through college, eventually you graduate, you're still trying to figure things out. It wasn't until after I graduated, then I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that really like opened my mind and like answered a lot of questions for me. So ever since I read that book, I knew my mindset was like, all right, this is what I want to do. I'm not really gonna focus on like working a job because I know I don't want to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. So it wasn't hard for me when I approached a situation like, let's say, a job that I didn't like. And like I said, in my 20s, like you're a little bit more reckless, but then as you get older, you become less reckless, and you say, you're trying to find a little bit of stability. But even still, I was still had it in my mind that I'm not gonna be when it comes to working a 9 to 5. This wasn't something long term for me. So even when as I got older, and I wasn't quitting jobs at the rate I was doing when I was younger. I found an office job. I would stay at an office job probably maybe 2-3 years, and I would still leave that job, even though I remember leaving one office job and I still had a car lease, I had a mortgage, I had responsibilities. But for me, I had obviously I had savings, so that helped me, but I was still like leaving jobs because it didn't really scare me, because I knew long term what I wanted to do. I wanted to start a business. I wanted to be self-employed. I wanted to do my own thing. So leaving jobs was finding a reason for leaving job wasn't that hard for me. But maybe for you, you're trying to figure that out. You're in that same situation. You probably had a job that you hate, and you're trying to figure out when is a good time to leave, like, or trying to decide, should you leave? Because it's a scary thing. Like if you're someone that has responsibilities, like you said, you got a car lease, a mortgage, or whatever responsibilities, it's harder for you to make that decision, right? I mean, not everyone's as reckless as I was, where I was just like, I'm going to do it anyways, and I'll figure it out. But you're probably trying to figure out like when's a good time to do that. So in this video, that's what we're going to talk about. So if you're someone that's trying to figure this out, like one of the first questions you want to ask yourself is like, why do you want to quit, right? That's the most important question. It's like, why do you want to quit? Because there's obviously, for me, when I was quitting, there was a variety of different reasons. But as you get to a point and you're trying to figure it out, first question you want to do is like, okay, why do you want to quit? Right? Is it the work itself? Are you like not fulfilled by what you're doing? Do you need to find yourself doing something else? Is it like the company does the company not share your values? Or is it something you want to look for another company that does share those values? Or maybe it's management, right? Maybe you do like the company, but the person that's managing you, you probably don't like your boss, or that person that's the manager. The fourth reason is like you're maybe just tired of the 9 to 5 grind, and that was me. Like for me, my mindset was like, I don't want to work 9 to 5. So asking those questions are important, because you got to figure out are you tired of work? Is it the company management, or is this just something that you just don't want to do long term? You have to ask yourself that question. So then after you've asked yourself that question, hopefully you've come up with an answer, then you have to come up with some alternatives, right? Because if it's the first two, where if it's the work itself, or maybe it's the company or management, then obviously the quick solution is finding another job, right? You can find another job. But if it's the fourth thing, which is you're tired of the 9 to 5 grind, then finding another job is not what's going to make you happy, right? Because it won't make you happy if the root of the problem is you don't want to work the 9 to 5 job, because all you're going to be doing is just hopping from job to job, being unfulfilled. But when in reality, you just don't want to do the 9 to 5 grind anymore. So obviously, like if it's the first three, then obviously the alternative is finding another job. Now, if it's the fourth thing, like I said, you're tired of the 9 to 5 grind, then the next alternative is doing your own thing, whatever that means to you, whether it's starting your own business, or maybe finding a side hustle, right? You have to make that decision, because if you're someone that's tired of 9 to 5 grind, you have to find that alternative. You have to do something that's going to make you, that's going to be fulfilling, or that's going to go away from where you can control your schedule, control your time, and you don't have to worry on your income is not depending on some employer. So that's something you have to do, and that's how I figured it out for myself. Like when I eventually, like when I was working at the office job, eventually got to a point where, like, you know what, Ralph, you can't just keep jumping from job to job. So that the last office job that I had, the next move I made was I became a personal trainer, independent. And then eventually I to supplement income as well, because obviously you got to get clients. I also got a kickboxing job. So I was an independent personal trainer and I was doing kickboxing on the side. So that was something where I was like, all right, you know what? I'm into fitness. So this is something where I want to go. But eventually I was like, you know what? The money's not really in personal training, so I have to figure something else out. And eventually got to doing affiliate marketing online. But so you have to figure out what you want to do. Is it you want to get another job or you want to start a business? So then once you do that, then you have to make sure the next step is like making sure that you're financially prepared. And obviously if you're gonna go look for another job, then you want to make sure. And if you say you want to, if you're trying to quit, then you want to make sure you have savings, right? Because I remember when I left my job, and like I said, I had a lease, I had a car lease and a mortgage. I had good savings. I had savings in my account, right? And you want to have at least 3 to 6 months. So it gave me enough time to be like, all right, while I quit, I could look for another job, and I was able to do that. And that was that was the other office job that I had, but it gave me time. So you want to make sure you at least have some savings, with 3 to 6 months of savings, so it gives you that time to look for another job without being stressed out. Or if you're someone that's reluctant to do that, and maybe you don't have savings, or maybe you're a little bit too afraid to just quit your job and look for another one, what you can do is start your while you're looking for a new job. Obviously, you can start your business, or you can start your little side hustle while that picks up. And once things pick up with your business or your side hustle, and it's replacing your income from your job, then you can leave that, right? So you want to make sure at least you're financially prepared to deal with if you want to make that move to quit your job. Right. The next thing you want to do is obviously make sure that you leave in good terms, right? Especially when you're young, like you're reckless, you're like you don't care, like you just want to quit. You don't really care about leaving in good terms. But as you get older and you get more responsibility, you get more mature, then you want to make sure that at least if you can, if possible, make sure you're leaving on good terms and try not to burn any bridges, right? Do it as responsibly as you can. Sometimes it's hard to do that. I remember dealing with a manager that was very disrespectful, and I snapped at her, and eventually got written up, and then I just handed my 2 weeks notice, and I was gone. So it does happen. So like I said, when I was younger, man, I was very reckless when it came to that stuff. Like if I was put in a situation where somebody was very disrespectful at my job, or I just didn't want to do it anymore, I would just give my notice and boom, and be done. I would leave. Obviously, as you get older, you're a little bit more responsible, and you think things out. If I could do it all over again, to be honest with you, like knowing what I know now, like I probably wouldn't have went to college, right? I would have just probably gotten to like real estate, or if I did get a job, I would have probably focused on getting a job that helps me develop skills, like in sales, marketing, or something like that, where I can like transition that into starting a business, right? Something that I could use to start a business. So if I could do it again, that's probably what I would do, and I would recommend that as well. Like if you're someone that's young and you're trying to figure it out, like if you're gonna get a job, don't just get a job to like earn money. Like get a job to develop skills. Then you can then take them skills, develop those skills over time, and then eventually like start your own thing and then make money that way. So that's what I would recommend. That's something I would have done. Like I probably would, like as soon as I got out of high school, I probably would have gotten into real estate as a real estate agent, then really like learn how to obviously understand the real estate game, so then I can like invest in real estate long term. So that's just something, like if I could go back, that's probably what I would do. But like I said, if you're someone that's thinking about quitting, you have to like really think that out, like why you want to quit, like figure out the alternatives. Then obviously make sure you're prepared financially to do that. And most importantly, one thing I always say is like if you're gonna because I can't tell you to quit your job. I wouldn't do that. I don't know your financial situation. I don't know your situation overall. Like I would never say, yo, just quit your job, because I don't know who you are personally. But one thing I always said to myself was, if I'm going to quit my job, right, and as reckless, as irresponsible it may be, one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to blame anybody else. I'm not going to blame something if things don't work out. So if I quit my job and things just go horribly wrong for me, like I'm homeless or whatever, I'm not going to blame somebody for my situation. I made choices in life, and I'm going to own up to those choices, right? But I was always, like I said, I always had that strong confidence, like, you know what, I'll figure it out, and I always did. So, but one thing I would say is like, if you're someone that's going to make that decision, just make sure you understand that you're accountable for your decisions, right? Because it's your decision and no one's decision. It's your decision alone. Just make sure you understand the risks and the sacrifice that you're going to have to make, and when it comes to that. So yeah, so that's pretty much all I got. Let me, if you got any comments or questions, make sure to leave it down below. Hit the like button, share, and if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. All right, so you guys take care and have a good one. Later.